Ranked Play is Lazer's new competitive 1v1 system, and it's publicly available as of today's update. There's a lot to talk about here, so we'll run through it in 2 steps. First, I'll demonstrate a Ranked Play match, then afterwards, Peppy, the lead developer of OS,
So what's new? We have Ranked Play.
will explain some of the development process and intentions behind the system. So yeah, this is Ranked Play. When you and another player enter a lobby, a pool of maps will be created based on your skill levels. Every match begins in the discard phase. Select the maps you don't want to play, then click this button to remove them from your hand. You'll automatically draw new cards to replace them. In the pick phase, the lower rated player will choose the first map. Some extra information about it will appear, and then you click circles. The goal of every round is to damage your opponent as much as possible. This damage number is the difference between both players' scores, and it's applied to the player who loses. The match then enters round 2, where another player picks, a map is played, and damage is dealt. As the round number increases, this damage multiplier does too, until eventually one player's health is reduced to 0. And that's Ranked Play. Now for Peppy's perspective.
Yeah, let's run through it. A lot of the fun that comes from a system like this is seeing the stats and seeing people interact with it. We already had that cloud of users, but now there's also match history and a few graphs that show where you are and how the community is interacting with the system. A lot of the designs are very dev designs. We already have a complete redesign of the system to make it feel a lot more lasery, so it might not look pretty yet.
What's the reasoning behind that Ranked Play bar that's always visible?
My minimum requirement for getting this out is to have something on screen during gameplay which shows that you're in Ranked Play. The thinking is that a lot of people these days are streaming the game. If someone's just watching over someone playing, I want them to know if they're in Ranked Play or not, and I think it's just a good hint to the local player as well, just to reinforce that they're in a specific system in the game. The end goal is to have more information down there, show players' avatars and the overall stats of the match, so it will take a bit more time to polish that before getting it in.
Ranked Play still isn't fully complete, so I'm wondering what are some of the bigger considerations for now?
Yeah, I'll go through a few more things that are coming to mind. One is that it's very hard to find Ranked Play on the main menu. It's nested 2 levels deep. Yeah, we are aware of that concern. The other thing is currently we're showing the raw ELO number. The goal is to not show that raw number and show something in place of it. That's just the best number we have that can show your progression through the system right now, so it's what we're using. I haven't been looking at the competitive side, the tiering, the health multipliers. I've left that to people who are making that more of their focus. While we kind of have things locked in for this release, it's not like we've decided the permanent numbers. And with a system like this where we aren't really concerned about the persistence as much, we are able to make resets. It's probably going to be a seasonal thing. It does mean that we can fix issues like this, or we can just be oh, this is a new season with new meta, and these are the new gameplay rules for that season. So it's nice that we have a bit of flexibility with Ranked Play, and we can keep things interesting and mix things up a bit. I guess closing comments, have fun. Maybe you've stopped playing OS because PP just got old to you. Go try Ranked Play and just give it a shot. Part of the enjoyment for me has been being introduced to new songs, new styles of music, and new styles of mapping, to be honest, because I've personally been avoiding playing a lot of recent beat maps. It feels like a competent system, and I think there's something to say about BTMC being involved in this, and Vivi and Smoogie and all the people I haven't mentioned behind the scenes that have been providing feedback on how to make this fun to users, not just the competitive side of users, but also just the casual users. I think we're in a good place. I think it's going to work.
Laser updates are never about a single feature. Developers have been focused on Ranked Play for the last few months, sure, but efforts have been split into other areas of the game as well. That's why we're going to cover everything new since last month's update, starting with not starting.
Quite often what would happen is a user would have their mouse cursor over the settings to the right of the screen, and that kind of delays the loading a bit. Now it will explicitly tell you that that's the case. And if you start loading a map and then Alt-Tab away from the game, it will no longer go into gameplay, it just stays at the loading screen. By the way, the gameplay loading screen feels really dated. I'd really like to update that, especially with Ranked Play coming in. It really takes you out of the Ranked Play system where you have all this stuff going on, and then suddenly it goes to the player loader screen as this old interface. I've asked for a new design for that screen, we'll see what happens there.
If you've been playing on the Tachyon release, you might have noticed how replays have this new scrolling text that matches stable. You might have also complained about it because, unlike stable, you weren't able to hide it with Control H. So that's been fixed. This update also includes some changes to mods. The Accuracy Challenge mod supports decimal precision. The Freeze Frame mod can now show multiple repeats. The Nightcore mod changes sound effects based on a map's tick rate. And the Synesthesia mod now works in catch.
Do we want to mention mod multiplayers in here? I think I probably said that they were almost ready, and they are almost ready. There's a team which is working on a news post to explain all the changes. That's one of the hardest things to do as a developer of a game that's been up for so many years, is people get used to things, and when you're making changes to things that people expect to never change, you need to make sure you have a good reason to make that change. We have done this by surveying the community and basing the changes to mod multiplayers on that survey, so fingers crossed we'll see that coming in the next few updates.
The editor is making progress in today's update too. You can now set background dim to 100%, which Peppy is really excited about, and you can also set addition banks before setting an actual hit sound. That likely goes over the heads of anyone who isn't a mapper, but it's a big deal. The previous process required selecting one of these before selecting one of these, which just ruined mappers' muscle memory while hit sounding. And one more editor thing, these icons have been updated.
It's nice to be going back in a direction of breathing the stable life into Laser. Like Adarin's doing a pretty good job on these icon designs, so I think we'll continue going through the game and fixing up any which are unfitting icons or just font awesome. Like we've drawn from font awesome because it's a really easy way to get icons to fill the gaps, but they're so generic.
Then over in Song Select, Mania players can finally group maps by their key counts. And the transition between songs was changed from a blendy crossfade to a distinct separation. Like, listen to how it was before. And listen to how it is now. This isn't in the changelog, but Hy-Vee mentioned that we should talk about the new batch of medals.
Yeah, so there's some new medals in the game. We kind of dropped these silently because, well, one, we wanted to make sure they were working correctly, but two, it's kind of nice to occasionally have people discover them because they've happened to hit the medal criteria without even trying. The big thing about these medals is that quite a few of them are laser only, and quite a few are actually client-side medals, which is a new thing. We can actually award medals for things which aren't attached to a score submission. Now that this is in the game and working well, we do have like a long backlog of medals which have been suggested that we can make happen because we have client-side awarding. So that's really cool to see.
This isn't as cool to see. So now there's a limit on how many notifications appear when someone goes online and offline constantly. Here in the dashboard, the user search tab was added, which lets you find a user's profile even when they're offline. And Spaceman Atlas has just about finished creating those laser tournament tools that we talked about last update.
The stuff he's adding, the APIs, the tournament referee systems, they are going to be used for years to come. So it's important to have, which is why we've kind of dedicated a couple of months of dev time to it. But everyone's working on these external systems which maybe don't affect the everyday user. So it'll be really nice to be able to get back to stuff like Song Select and Result Screen, which are going to really change the game for users.
You say that, but the tournament updates included the roll command, so that's a game changer for everyone. One more chat feature was added in today's update, Save Log, which saves and exports chat history.
Again, nice to see these features which were in stable coming back. Like, how many people in the game actually know that /savelog command actually exists? Probably only a handful, but the ones that do know about it and use it will be happy to have it back.
I remember using this like when I'd actually talked to people in game, but then Discord happened and it doesn't happen as much anymore.
I'm kind of hoping that changes over the coming years. Like, Discord doesn't seem to be in the best light right now, and it's nice to have that fallback, and I think it would be really cool if there's like a reinvigoration of those systems at some point in the future. But that depends on what happens outside of our control, so whatever.
Yeah, I did see though on Discord the like now playing status thing. Stable became Osu stable and laser just became Osu. Another step for laser, I guess.
I think we're just matching everything else. Like, the only place I think we intentionally have the brackets laser on the end is the desktop shortcut, and that's because it would otherwise conflict with stable. At some point, maybe when we hit 50% of users on laser, which we're getting close to, we're at like 45% or something. Maybe at that point we want to change the desktop shortcut so stable is like os brackets stable and laser just gets the default, the no parenthesis version. But yeah, we'll see about that.